You know this song?
I like this song.
There's a place for you in the circle. The circle can expand. Come and join the circle. All people hand in hand. There is love for you in the circle. A love you can understand. Come and join the circle, all people hand in hand. There is peace in the circle, non-violence is our plan. Come and join the circle, all people hand in hand. There is strength in the circle, as together we all stand. Come and join the circle, all people hand in hand. There is healing in the circle, healing on the land. Come and join the circle, all people hand in hand. There's a place for you in the circle. The circle can expand. Come and join the circle, all people hand in hand. Come and join the circle, all people hand in hand. Right about.
I just love this song last time.
Can you start?
Which one is it?
It's right above.
Oh.
251.
Coming home.
Still on page 11.
I don't know that one.
Anyone know this song? Anyone know this song?
I've never heard of this song. I don't know this song.
Suddenly, when you sing the song The Circle, I forget it.
Maybe we can sing the song on the next page, Simple Things.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Good.
Okay, sorry, now I remember.
Okay.
See my eyes, please, we welcome.
See my heart. See my hands, I fold them towards you, allowed us to be. See my eyes, please be welcome. See my heart, please be my guest. See my hands, I fold them towards you, allowed us to be. Following the sun and falling of the grave. We just listened to this song yesterday.
Yeah.
So we'll do the next part.
So we go to simple things. Okay.
I get my joy
From the simple things coming from the earth, I get my joy from the sun that shines and the water speaks to me. Listen to the rain and listen to the water. Hear what they say. Singing hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey. Singing hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey. I get my joy from the simple things coming from the earth. I get my joy from the sun that shines and the water speaks to me. Listen to the rain and listen to the water. Hear what they say. Singing hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey. Singing hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey.
Practice this gesture to offer flowers instead of clapping. This is also a way to say the same as you are all beautiful, you sang beautifully. So dear respected teachers, dear friends, let's take a moment to come back to our breath and let's enjoy one sound of bell so we can start today's evening. Good evening, dear friends. My name is Huang, and today we're joined by, again, our dear sister Trish Thompson, a Dharma teacher in the Plum Village tradition. So we're back in Mandir every Monday to practice mindfulness, to have a chance to go back to ourselves and take care of ourselves. Usually we spend the first 30 minutes to do 30 minutes of sitting meditation. And afterwards, for today, it's a very special day. We get a chance to listen to another Dharma talk by Trish Thompson, whose name is Concentration on Peace, Chân in Vietnamese. And at the end, we have about 30 minutes to share, to ask questions if we have, and to practice deep listening. So thank you so much for singing together. Let's go around in a circle and get to know each other a little bit. We can introduce our names, how we're feeling, how your day was. You can use a weather phenomenon, like my day was sunny, cloudy, stormy. I see a few new faces, so if this is your first time, just let us know how you know about us and what has been your experience with meditation. or mindfulness in general. So I'll start. Dear friends, I'm a bit nervous, to be honest. My day has been quite sunny from the morning until evening. I'm becoming calmer, and I feel happy to see everyone here today. Thank you for coming. So let's go in this direction.
So, dear Thai, dear Sangha, my day, my inner weather today has been cloudy, but not stormy clouds at all. Just quiet, and I slept a lot today because I did not sleep last night. So inside I felt just really quiet and not unhappy, but just tired and peaceful. So no breezes, no stormy winds, and looking forward to being here tonight. And I'm very interested to see how the evening unfolds. So thank you.
Dear Thầy, dear Sangha, my name is Trish. I had a quite nice sunny day today, and I'm really happy to be here again.
Thank you, friends, for sharing your intimate weather. So this is our chance to care about emotions. So all kinds of intimate weather is welcome. I should pass the bell to Trish, who will guide us in the first part of our session, which is the sitting meditation.
So I think I need to come clean right away, make a confession. And that is that my idea for the evening is not exactly as has been described that the evening would be. So I'm going to surprise all of you. But I know that, as one explained, that is if you come when I'm not here, that will be the schedule. That is what is normally the way the evening goes here, I believe. And but I'm going to, I have a couple of ideas that I want to introduce, and especially good because we have so many new ones. So I think I must have known you were coming, and began to prepare for that. But we'll begin with sitting meditation. But you never have to wait until you are involved in sitting meditation with a group of people to be meditating. You can be meditating when you are not sitting, when you're not with a group. That is our Plum Village practice, that we practice mindfulness. Our practice is to train ourselves to be able to be present and mindful in every moment of the day, no matter what we're doing. So I have an idea tonight of something I want us to do and see if we can continue to stay in touch with our breath. But we'll start first with sitting, and I will guide you. And it's a meditation on the body, so it's on being mindful of the breath and of parts of the body, and I will guide you in that. And I'll make good use of the bell to help us to stay in the moment. So if you would sit in your beautiful Buddha-like posture, which you already are in, but you might want to reset your intention to be fully present for the sound of the bell, which we think of this is the mindfulness bell, and when we invite it to sound, it's the Buddha calling us back to the present moment, the Buddha within us calling us back from wherever the mind has taken us. You might want to gently close your eyes or half close them. That can be very helpful for collecting the energy. It actually is a little bit more challenging when sitting in a circle like this, when we're meditating in sitting meditation, because the energy is contained in the circle. But as we go along with our learning the Buddhist teachings, we begin to learn that we're not actually separate from each other. So then it's just most wonderful that we're sitting in a circle like this. We're sharing our energy with one another. So I'm going to invite 3 sounds of the bell. And because of the guidance that we've already heard, we won't be sitting for exactly 30 minutes, so don't worry about the time. It will be exactly what it needs to be. So I'll wake the bell with 1 tap. So bringing our attention to our breathing. We can become aware of the breath as it enters through our nose. You might feel the coolness of the breath as it crosses your upper lip and enters your body. And as we exhale, releasing the breath through the nose, we might become aware of the warmth of our breath now that it has been in our body. The warmth of our breath as it crosses the upper lip. And on the in-breath, we become aware of the hair on our head. Staying in touch with the breath and aware of the hair on our head. And on the out-breath, I can smile to the hair on my head. And the key words are hair and smiling. And we'll practice like that for a few breaths. Continuing to be in touch with the breath. Breathing in, I'm aware of my eyes. And on the out breath, I smile to my eyes. My eyes smiling. Breathing in, I am aware of my ears. And on the out breath, I smile to my ears. Ears smiling. On the in-breath, I'm aware of my shoulders. And on the out-breath, I smile to my shoulders. Shoulders smiling. Breathing in, I'm aware of my arms. And breathing out, I smile to my arms, to my two arms. Arms smiling. On the in-breath, I'm aware of my hands, my fingers, my thumb. On the out-breath, I smile to my hands and my fingers and my thumb. Hands, smiling. Breathing in, I'm aware of my legs, my thighs, my knees, my calves. Breathing out, I smile to my legs, my thighs, my knees, my calves. Legs smiling. Breathing in, I become aware of my feet, my 2 feet, and my toes, my ankles. Breathing out, I smile to my 2 feet, my toes and my ankles. Feet smiling. Breathing in, I am aware of my kidneys. Breathing out, I smile to my kidneys. On the in-breath, kidneys on the out-breath, smiling. Breathing in, I am aware of my liver. And breathing out, I smile to my liver. On the in-breath, liver. On the out-breath, smiling. Breathing in, I'm aware of my heart. And breathing out, I smile to my heart. Heart, smiling. So you might want to slowly come out of that sitting posture. Realizing that coming out of the sitting posture, coming out of the sitting meditation is equally important as the sitting meditation. It also is that opportunity to be mindful, to move slowly, aware. I'm aware that I'm going to assist this left leg of mine to come out and change position. So you might want to rub your toes. Our teacher, he used to always, when he came out of sitting meditation, he would rub his feet and really rub his toes and take good care of his feet. So that guided meditation is designed to help us, to support us, to be more in touch with the body, our body, but also I think this word is appropriate, that when we practice that, especially if we establish a practice of doing that regularly, and I mentioned last week about body work, massage therapy, meditating on the body, or when you're lying in bed at night, or when you are on the yoga mat, if you practice yoga, to be fully aware and of your body parts. And it's in that way that we develop and cultivate a real affection for our body. At least it's been that way for me. I shared last week about how when I first began to wake up, I had a very unexpected, for me, painful event, and that really, in an instant, changed my life. And I'm so grateful for it. But at that time, I was really out of touch with my body. My first teacher, who was a psychotherapist, said, "Trish, you have a major addiction, and it's thinking, living here." And just ignoring my body, really ignoring it, using it, and seeing it as something, and allowing others to use it. And but I had no affection for it. And I know that in those, I was 47 when my life changed so drastically. So I had a lot of years of standing in front of the mirror and certainly spending a lot of time at war with my hair. I wore my hair long. I had an older sister who had beautiful hair that was just so easy for her to manage. It was very thick and coarse, heavy like our father's, and I had hair like our mother, fine. And those were the years when you wanted to have curly hair, and so you would put, sleep in rollers, and then, I'd fix my hair and then go out, and there'd be maybe a fine mist, a little rain, and I would have nothing. Or I'd even go to the salon, and the hair's beautiful, after the hairdresser. But then I slept on it, and the next day it was again. So I really, it was quite an issue for me. I wasted a lot of my life being unkind to my hair and myself, seeing that as that's who I am, and the presentation that I make to the world. I wanted to look good, thinking this was it, and yeah. So it took some years, and everyone doesn't have to do the really drastic thing, but as a 54-year-old woman, I went to India and I shaved my head, and that took care of that. And I've never wanted long hair since, and I like my hair, and it's easy, and I can do that, and it's okay. I don't. It's whatever it is. It's fine. It is what it is. I don't waste my life on that. And the same is true for those internal organs. So, the liver, you might ask yourself, am I kind to my liver? Do I eat a lot of fatty foods, oily foods, alcohol, beer? Many people don't think of beer as being alcohol, but it is. And every drink has an effect on the liver. It has to process that alcohol. And I certainly had my share, more than my share, I'm sure, in those early years. And the same with the kidneys. I had a lot of aches and pains. And my daughter, who in the early years when she was young, she became a massage therapist, went to school 6 months, learned a lot, came back and said, "Mom, you just don't drink enough water." And I didn't. If I drank 1 glass of water in a day, that was a big deal. Even when I went to India in '96, other people were carrying big bottles. didn't. So I came back a lot thinner, but also dehydrated, I'm sure. Cannot be good for the kidneys or any other body part. So do you drink enough water? Right? Most of us don't. And of course, fluids of any kind are better than no fluids, I suppose, unless we're talking about alcohol or something with a lot of sugar in it. That's not good for the body, is it? Diabetes is, it's an epidemic in the West. I don't know what's happening here yet, but I see an awful lot of sugar. And that's happened since I've been here. I came in 2005, and it's only been, I've noticed maybe in the last 10 years that when I order watermelon juice, I have to be sure to say no sugar, or there'll be that much sugar in the bottom of the watermelon juice. So, you know, sugar, that's one reason people drink alcohol. It's really the addiction to the sugar. And the more sugar we have, the more we want. We want a little more. Our tolerance increases. And so this is not a health seminar. This is not I'm not a nurse or a doctor, but this is about being mindful of the body. And this is about, we agreed that I would come for 3 sessions and teach on the Buddhist discourse on mindfulness of breathing. And so that I am sticking with that, but in a little, maybe putting it more into a useful way, a very practical way of hearing. What does it mean? Yes, we all know we breathe, but why? What's the difference in? Yes, I know I breathe, but then I forget about that for days on end. And so, what's the difference? There's a big difference. There can be. If you're like me, in childhood, if you have some trauma around you or some tension in the household, children learn very early to hold their breath, to take up as little space as they can, to not be noticed, while the rest of them are squabbling and fussing and fighting and whatever they're doing. And so so we develop this habit of breathing to about here instead of all the way down, and then feeling it come up. So then we develop an affection for our breath. What I've learned is the breath is the Holy Spirit. Mindfulness is the Holy Spirit. So actually everything is holy. Everything is holy, or can be for the individual. It's very important to train ourselves to breathe. If we don't develop a good way of breathing deeply, then we have weak lungs, and we get sick in older age or in all this air pollution. We're much more vulnerable. So there are very good physical reasons, and mental and emotional, to develop a good practice of paying attention to the body, caring for the body, developing affection for the body, and being mindful of what the body is feeling and doing, what is going on inside. So last week, for those of you who were here, I gave something called Kung Fu, abbreviated, very brief, just 4 or 5. I listed 4 or 5 of the very first activities that almost everyone engages in when you wake up in the morning, and ask you to, when you could remember to do that, to take that sheet home with you, and when you could remember to do it, the first one was when I'm still in bed and I'm aware that I have waked up, it's morning, can I train myself to take a conscious breath, to realize that I'm taking that breath, that I intend to take that breath. And then when I get out of bed, can I be aware, in touch with my breath and my feet as I put my feet on the floor? So do I know what I'm doing in that moment? Or has my mind already gone to, oh dear, what time is it? Have I overslept? And those thoughts. Can I stay instead with exactly what I'm doing, those simple things that we all do every day? So that to me, these simple everyday activities are the treasure trove of where we learn to train our minds, learn to train ourselves to breathe and to be present. We don't have to wait to go to a retreat. We don't have to wait until we come here and sit in a corner, in a circle. No, we do it. Am I fully present? Do I know what my left hand is doing as I reach over and turn on the lamp on the bedside table? Am I aware when I get out of bed and I walk to the toilet? Am I aware of my feet and the breath? Am I present? Or am I already thinking, what am I going to wear today? Or, wait a minute, did I say I would be there at 8 or 9? What, the mind going already. And of course, it is not easy. It's simple sounding, but it's very difficult. And it takes years. I was around someone this summer who has been in the practice for 25 years anyway, and he's absolutely dedicated to it. And he said, Trish, I think that I can only take about 8 breaths and stay present. Can't go farther than that. After 8 breaths, my mind, I'm off in a story or off in whatever's happening. I've lost touch with my breath and body. So it's challenging, and it's a wonderful way to challenge yourself. And what is the reward? A richer, fuller life, a simpler life, more happiness, more peace with the simple things. It was the perfect choice for the song tonight. Simple things. I know that for myself, and I hear that from other people, that as we come home to ourselves and learn to really appreciate the fact that my body is still working, appreciate that I can lift this leg, that I can still walk without someone helping me or having a cane or a walker. Many people my age cannot. So just that awareness, that is no small thing. And I can still do that, and that is a source of happiness. So I don't have to go to Paris to be happy. I can just realize, wow, I woke up, I'm still here. I woke up this morning. I didn't pass away in my sleep. A lot of people do that. So you learn to appreciate the moments in your life instead of always looking ahead. And of course, when you're doing these things, being aware of these simple activities, you're letting go of so much that is not helpful, that is actually harmful, not only for yourself, but for the people around you. And what are they? Worrying about the future. Is it going to flood here? It seems to be flooding everywhere. People are dying. Is that going to happen here? Or what about my friends in Thailand? What's happening with them? So we go to that, worrying about the future. Or for me, the hard one is regretting the past. Regretting something that I did or didn't do 40 years ago. It can come like that. And there it is. So what do you do? What do I do when I am aware, when I become aware wow, this is what is happening in my mind right now. I am thinking, and I've been really tested, so this was part of my not sleeping last night. So I discovered yesterday that a dear friend, actually older than I, so had a lovely life, beautiful life, was a wonderful woman, had passed away. But what that did for me was it, of course, and it just happened 10 days ago, and I became aware of it yesterday, in somebody in the U.S. And I had not seen her in years. She's not in this practice, nothing she was ever going to do, so it was from my former life. But I really cared for that woman and had just wonderful, fond memories of our times together when I was married and her husband was still alive and my husband was alive, and we took trips together, and so that brought all that back. So I found myself thinking about that last night. I'm thinking of her, and I'm realizing her spirit is still all around. She felt very alive in me as I had these memories come up of this thing she said, or this place we went. And so I'm reliving a lot. So I'm not regretting exactly. And again, it's just a very human thing that we do, right? But meanwhile, it didn't let me sleep. And so then today, I slept for 2 hours in the middle of the morning. I slept for 2 hours in the middle of the afternoon. So things I had planned to work on, I didn't. And so, it's just is what it is. So I'm not crying about any of that. But to say that how quickly the mind, something is there, and I'm not sure how much I remembered to breathe, or I don't know if I'm not really sure if I remembered to take my vitamins last night before going to bed. I just thought of that. I'm not really sure that I did that because something unusual had happened. So I started talking about the Kung Fu sheet. So I wanted to ask of those who were here last week if you would perhaps give us a little update. If you were able to be with any of it, if you if you even remembered to look at the sheet. It's not a test. Not a test. You're not going to be judged. It's not about that. But I'd like to hear, were you successful at all? So I'll just be quiet a moment and see who bows in to talk about that.
I would say I have good and bad news. The good news is I happened to place the letter. I didn't unfold it even, but just the letter you gave, it was on my nightstand just because I didn't know where to put it. Put it on my nightstand. And every morning I got up, I saw this letter. I was like, oh shit, I didn't do it yesterday evening. But I saw this letter in this paper, and in that moment when I got up from bed, I was actually aware of putting my feet on the ground. And then I took one breath and a second breath to be like, okay, this is what this letter is supposed to do. And then a second later it was gone again, honestly. Like I got out of bed and my head was wherever. But that happened every morning actually. Like every morning I was looking at the paper, I was like, oh yeah, right, I did it yesterday, but this is a moment to breathe. And I tried to just enjoy that and actually have a bit of compassion because I tried, like usually I'm very strict with myself. I punish myself for not being able to do the whole process, to not fill out the form every night, like to not follow instructions. But I was like, actually, this is better than nothing. Like just be proud of yourself to put your feet on the ground and breathe while doing it. And that's more than enough for this moment.
That's wonderful.
Thank you.
That reminds me of a friend who comes over here and practices with us on retreat, has for several years, and he just retired from Microsoft, and he said in Microsoft what they do, he said, we don't worry about expectations, we just lower our standards. So that's what you did. You said, okay, I'll just lower my standards. I don't have to try to be perfect here. Yeah, yeah, wonderful. So anyone else?
I also would like to share something. One of them is connected with I totally agree with your feelings because I feel the same. I got this paper, I look at it, I realize that I'm looking at it, and I get back, and I forget to think about it. Forget to even think about it. And turns out it's another week with another rush, and it's my never lasting problem that I'm always in a rush. I forget to take the rest. I forget to take deep breath. But actually, not this week, but previous week, I remember the moment of being aware of where am I. It was a very long and very stressful day at work. I'm an English teacher working with teenagers. And that's why meditation is very important because in your mind, sometimes you need to make a step back, not to absorb all of these emotions from the teenagers because they're very emotional. And it was a very terrible day at work and I wanted to punish myself for not being a good teacher. But then I woke out of the school and I just took a few deep breaths and realized, okay, my working day is over. Now I'm here outside of the school, the weather is good, the sun is shining, and it helped me a lot. Just in 1 minute, I felt myself released. And another thing, I think a very beautiful one that I wanted to share is that from the previous session, you shared your very intimate story about your mother, and at the moment I felt unease, and I didn't know what is happening with me. I go out of this room and I went for a small walk in the park right near here, near the lake. And I couldn't understand. I couldn't figure out what is happening with me. And I just listened to the sad music actually. And one of the songs, at the moment I realized that was it. All the puzzles came together. It's that you inspired me to think about my own family. And to tell the truth, I have some family issues. I'm not that close with my family. But however, I really love them, I appreciate them, but I never tell them about it. So they also never do. But that's not about being another, that's about doing something myself. And actually that song was the song that my father switched off when we were going somewhere on a road trip together, and he introduced me to this song. Introduced this song to me, and I felt like I started crying immediately. And at the moment, I realized that I just want to write to all, to my mother and father that I actually love them, I care about them, and I appreciate all the time that we were together. So just thank you for sharing your story, because after sharing, I realized that everything is changing. Nothing lasts forever, and I already lost some of my relatives that I felt regrets about the past that I didn't spend much time with them, and you motivated me to do this one step to become closer with my family. So thank you very much.
I have had a lucky experience here in Hanoi because I am not working. So I have time for myself, a lot of time to think, to walk, have my dog, and I was trying to use the paper, and I realized even though I have this distraction problem, I realized that I have this process in the morning just by having a little bit of more awareness of what I do in the morning, and I am very aware of just waking up really slow. So I was really conscious and mindful of how I wake up, what I do when I wake up, and even though I didn't complete all the list because I usually get distracted, I tried the whole week to be aware and be mindful and try to live in meditation the whole day. So when I walk my dog, I try to breathe a little bit, be aware of my how I was walking, the things that were around, and it was really nice.
I realized this week where the paper didn't even make it into my nightstand. And then another plum village tradition that we actually have taken in after getting from Tui, from Tigna time of waking up and smile 24 brand new hours before me. I vow to live fully in each moment and look at all beings with eyes of compassion. Is something of a tradition saying in the morning. We are saying to each other, and it's part of the morning breathing. And the days when still, it's part of the traditions for more than half a year of doing it. And realizing when then getting up in the morning and looking at the piece of paper that was in the living room, and then I had a moment every day of feeling annoyed that I was not doing this that I was supposed to do, and then reminding myself, but we said this in the morning, in bed, in the first moment, doing this mindful breathing, and reminding myself of like, just because you had this piece of paper that was supposed to mean this thing for you, and feeling annoyed at yourself for not doing it, you're actually doing it in your own version already now. Right. And it was it was a daily moment of annoyance, and then, don't be annoyed, actually, it's a good thing. And it's been quite a journey this week of reminding myself of that. That ended up in being good, that it was just laying there, it's a piece of paper in the living room.
Yeah. So what presence there, so much awareness of the feelings, the thoughts, the mental formations, everything. You know what? Yeah. So that's it. So there's no right or wrong about any of it. It's just noticing and training ourselves to notice. And of course, yes, also maybe making in this case, which you did, making a decision that, okay, I'm not going to beat up on myself about that. In other words, I'm really an okay person. I'm really okay here. I don't need to criticize myself. I have a practice in this case. So, so it's, so just the simple things, and then we can learn so much about ourselves. And so, not only that, we learn so much about where all that came from. That being that tendency to begin to criticize ourselves or think, oh, I should be doing something else because, she said do that. And so, this perfectionism or so then we found ourselves in meditation reflecting on childhood. But then we found ourselves reflecting on mother's childhood and father's childhood. And we can know exactly what they were by our own. Because if we have not met a practice and made a conscious change, we are going to parent our children exactly the way we were parented. That is our university training. is by our experience. So we can know. Even things that have happened in our life later on, we can know that, or as we reflect on something that happened before we were in this practice or before we began to care for our body, for example, and we lived our life a certain way, we can know that our mothers had the same life. They had the same, they even had its history repeating itself. You hear, I guess you hear that. I grew up hearing that, history repeats itself. I only thought of it in terms of countries and wars, history repeating itself. I never it never occurred to me that history was repeating itself with individuals and within families or within communities. Things things change, but many things change very slowly, very, very, very slowly. And something has to be some sort of healing and transformation for the change to be in a more positive direction, for example. So our individual healing and transformation heals and transforms our families, even if we're far from them, even if we don't have any direct contact with them, even if they've passed away. In 2013, it was the first retreat that we offered over here in Vietnam for international, we being Trish and friends who we came together on this, and we started a foundation, a nonprofit, and began to organize retreats for international friends, people who love Plum Village, who loved Thich Nhat Hanh, and who wanted to come to his homeland, and so we started making that possible for lay people. So we do that every year. We've been doing that. We offer 5 weeks, 3 different retreats each year. And we've been doing that since 2013. On that first one, there was a woman. She was German, living in Switzerland. And she looked very sad. She just had her whole aura, everything about her was just sadness. And the first few days, she was extremely quiet. She didn't share. And slowly she began to warm up to the group and feel more safe, I think. And shared a little bit, but not in any real depth. In fact, the most revealing thing that I remember that she said was really on the last 2 or 3 days, we offered the 5 mindfulness trainings, and with that, Annika referred to it, you get a lineage name that puts you into the Plum Village family, and it's based on your aspiration, what you write, and you give that to the teacher, and then based on that, what you can discern from that aspiration, then the teacher gives you a name. And so the name that she earned was Ancestral Transformation of the Heart. And she said, "Oh, I thought I was done with all that." That was her reaction, her response, when she saw the certificate, and I read it out and said, "Your name is Ancestral Transformation." So the retreat ended. She went back to Europe. And 3 or 4 days later, the entire group got a letter from her. She wrote a letter that went to the entire group. And she said she had to share this. So she had a conversation on the phone with her mother, who was in Germany, living in a retirement home or something for the elderly. Because this woman was probably I know that she was in her 50s. And she said, they talked, and she shared about the retreat, and in that conversation, she said, what came up was about father who'd passed away, and the mother trying to help the daughter to understand maybe, and she said, I know he didn't talk much about the war, so he had been a soldier in the war, in World War II. And we didn't share much about any of that, and the mother said, and I think Vietnamese in the circle can if you have not reflected on this, you will one day, that it's the same in every country when you've had war, that when war is done, those who were directly involved in war, that generation, they just have to try to rebuild the country. It is just all about work. So who has time to sit around and reflect on what I'm feeling today? You just get on with life, you know. No time, don't look back. You don't look back. And so those generations tend to just stuff their feelings so they can get the work done. It's all about survival. And so the children are being born, and now they're raising children, and a lot of that energy is being transmitted now to the children, to that next generation, who will transmit it to the next generation unless something changes to break that. And so the mother said, you know, I almost called her name. She said, you know, while you were over there, she said, I had a couple of things happen that were quite interesting, and I want to share them with you. So the mother said that she had a memory come up. And so I'm not going to exactly tell the whole, I'm just going to paraphrase. But she had a memory come up of when she herself was a young girl, and and the mother had her and her younger siblings in a wagon, and they were trying to escape a city that was being bombed by the Allies, by the Americans and English and whatever. And so, and she said they were running from the invading forces, and they were in the eastern zone, and they didn't get away. So she didn't go into detail about that, of what might have happened. But then the mother saw had this memory come that when all of that was happening, that she remembered seeing some soldiers hanging in trees, and she knew that they had been, they were deserters, or they were people running, didn't want to be there. And so their own forces had, and so this is quite, and the mother had never had that memory until at this particular time. And she said, so they cried some about that. The mother cried. The mother had never, so they'd never had this kind of conversation. And then the mother said, and another thing that she said, I was at the pharmacy and I bought my drugs, and I looked down and I saw that it was made in Poland. And suddenly a memory came. So it was another traumatic memory of something that happened to her when she was a young girl, teenager or whatever. So why am I telling you this? To say that, you know, time and space are an illusion. The work that you do by coming here tonight has a huge effect. We think, I'm only one person, what can I do? I can move mountains. I can do so much. I do my inner work. So think of the other people who are affected just with that one woman who was on retreat over here. And now her mother has released sadness, has had memories come, shined a light on them, so there's healing. There's healing, because until those traumas come up and are subjected to the light, until they're no longer hidden, they're no longer in denial, no longer pushed down, the conditions are sufficient, they come up, and especially having a witness for them. So she shares that, and I've always found that to be true for me too. If I have someone, that's why I love Dharma sharing. And I love Dharma sharing when the Sangha it comes together often enough, and the individuals have become constant enough and feel really part of the family and feel comfortable sharing not just their happiness, but also their suffering, so that everyone can shine the light on that. And then it's gone, it's finished, and things change. So you can believe that that mother, that elderly mother, when she hung up from sharing that with her daughter, and the daughter too, how much lighter they must have felt. And that radiates out. That affects the people in the market. When she interacts with people in the market, that she's now more able to, she feels lighter. She feels she can smile more. She can genuinely be present. She's not busy trying to keep something down, which is what depression is. Depression is suppressed emotions. And the energy that it takes to keep that down. But we don't need to be concerned or worried or about maybe something hasn't come. We just live our life, our simple life, and when conditions are sufficient, something comes. Something comes up, and we have a safe container for sharing it and transforming it so that our life can be different and the lives of those around us can be different. In terms of writing to family members, it's even if you never actually write the letter, the intent is already huge. The motivation is what is important. If it never is delivered physically, that's not important, because that person will know that, even if they've already passed away. So that's a whole nother Dharma, maybe several Dharma talks about where are they and how can they know that. Yeah. So this is what I wanted to do, and we have 16 minutes if we want to stay on time, which I am almost never successful in doing, but I will do my best tonight. I want us to practice walking meditation in the room. And that's really great because we have new people as well, and I want us to well, I'll explain it when we stand up. So I'm going to unfold my legs again so that I won't fall down when I stand up. So make sure you do that too. Yeah, that your body is prepared to stand up. And I'm going to invite a bell, and I'll ask you to stand up and stand behind your cushion, and then we'll have more instructions. So I think I'd like for us to bow in gratitude to the Sangha. So now I think, why don't we, if we just stay on the outside, we can leave everything just the way it is. It's a little narrow over there. But we don't have to go in a circle. We instead go more in a square. So let's just get ourselves into a square now. And okay, so and something we need to pay attention to is we want to have about the same distance between each of us. So let's make it smaller somehow. Let's see how we can do that. So we're like this. So there's a lot of space right there. So maybe, a little bit. And Ling, maybe you go a little bit towards Nicholas. Maybe I'll go a little bit that way. Okay. It's not about perfectionism, but it is about trying to get it right. So I will invite a bell. And then what we'll do is we'll turn to our left, yes, and you can go ahead and do that. And so what I want you to do is to pay attention to your breathing. So maybe I'll give a little instruction on this first.